Right, marvellous. Good evening, everybody. How are we all? Splendid. Good evening. Thank you all so much for being here. We are at 5:30, so we are going to jump into this evening's meeting. I'd like to welcome you all here this evening and our members of the gallery as well. We have some deputations a little bit later on. I would like to start with an acknowledgement that we are meeting this evening on the unceded lands of the Kaurna, Paramunk and Ngadjuri people. I think as a council and as a society, we can be very privileged to bear witness to the oldest continuing culture on the face of the planet. We should be very proud of the role that we can play in that as well. I would also just like to acknowledge that this is my first time acting as a presiding member this evening, so I'm going to preemptively thank everyone for your patience and grace. I suspect there will be some frantic hand signalling happening between myself and the Deputy CEO throughout the evening, so thank you in advance for your understanding in that regard. We do have some apologies this evening. Obviously, we have members of our team who are working hard on our behalf in the US. So we do have apologies from Councillor Lane and, of course, Mayor Lange as well. We do have an apology from Councillor Schilling also. And, of course, I'd just like to acknowledge the tremendous amount of work that our CEO is also doing over in the US currently also. So, to kick things off this evening, we're going to be moving to item 2.1, the confirmation of the previous minutes. This was the meeting that was held on the 19th of August, 2025. Do we have any questions arising? Happy to move that, Councillor Hearn. Thank you so much. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Barrett, thank you. All in favour? And that is carried. Thank you. We do have a procedural item this evening, which is a petition regarding the proposed closure of the walkway between Penrice Road and Shoals Avenue in Nuriutpa. There is a recommendation that is available to us here. I would just like to note that yes, Councillor Priest? Oh, fabulous. Well, I was just going to note very briefly that we do have some deputations following, so just procedurally we are going to receive the recommendation first. So if there are no questions, I'm happy to accept Councillor Priest as the mover and seconding from Councillor De Vries. Thank you so very much. All in favour? And that is then carried. Thank you. In that case, we move to item 3.2, and I would like to welcome our visitors to the meeting who are presenting their deputation. Would you like to come forward? Yes, please do. There's a lectern just up here. Please feel free to come up. Yeah, you can come both at the same time or stay seated, however you feel comfortable. That's absolutely fine. We do have a little lapel mic just there for you. And that will just allow the meeting to record and clearly hear your deputation. That's it. So just as a reminder, I suppose, in terms of the procedure, there is around 10 minutes that is allocated. There we go. Yes, Councillor Hearn usually steps in as our unofficial IT person at this stage. So there is 10 minutes which is allowed for each of the deputations, and there is an opportunity for elected members to ask questions following as well. So if you'd like to either remain standing or take your seat momentarily, you can feel really free to do that. But I'll hand over to yourself. Right. Thank you so much.
Sorry, I don't know your name. I can't read that from back there. So
you may call me Deputy Mayor or Councillor Gray, which is absolutely fine.
Deputy Mayor. Okay,
Jess really is.
Deputy Mayor, distinguished elected members and all persons present. My name is Donna Newman. I am here today to represent my views and that of several other residents and pedestrians with respect to the proposed closure of the walkway between Penrice Road and Shoals Avenue, Nuriutpa. We purchased our home up here at Penrice Road, Nuriutpa, approximately 10 years ago with a view to considering our age to the accessibility to services we may require in the near future, i.e. at Barossa Village, and being able to stay in our own home, hopefully for the rest of our life. The fact that there was a walkway next to our house was certainly a welcome component when making this decision. We object to the closure of the aforementioned walkway as we use it frequently to attend appointments at Barossa Village, as my partner has difficulties with walking, and visiting friends in the area, and when walking for exercise to assist in maintaining our good health. We sat in our driveway on two separate very cold afternoons, speaking to pedestrians as they walked by, only to realise that more than half of those, who were mostly local people living in that area, were not even aware that it was a walkway. They were keen to sign a petition, which has been presented to the council, stating their objection to the closure of the walkway, as if the walkway was appropriately maintained, it gives more direct and safe access to bus stop number 5, Coulthard Reserves, walking paths and bush gardens and nearby sporting grounds, etc., which are all beneficial for continual health care. I note that there are very few footpaths around Barossa Village, and thus we have to walk on roads. This walkway would give a purpose-specific and visually clear and direct access through to Penrice Road and the wonderful community grounds as just mentioned, particularly ideal for the ageing population. As the walkway currently presents itself, it is approximately 6-foot colour-bond fencing on the western side from Penrice Road to Shoals Avenue, but is open to the Barossa Village residents' homes on the eastern side. The walkway was declared a public walkway in 1988 and yet has never been prepared to the condition of 3 other walkways I have seen nearby in Yuriukpa. In fact, the walkway is currently overgrown with plants, weeds, etc. And when we purchased our home, there was even a workshop and a clothesline built on the fence line by Barossa Village residents, obstructing access completely along the walkway. If maintained, this walkway would be a straight 10-foot wide access with clear vision from one end to the other, as per other walkways are, suitable for use by all people of the community, with or without any walking impairment, and not just Barossa Village residents. I question where, I quote, pedestrian access through an access arrangement to the west of the current walkway, as stated in the recent council minutes, would actually be, as this would mean that the access would be further towards Sheared Crescent than the current walkway, which is further away from Barossa Village. I also question if this arrangement, as per the council minutes, were made, who is to say that it could not easily be cancelled at any time if it was not council-owned property? If it was, it would be imperative that it be a perpetual agreement in this case. I also question how it could be said, in inverted commas, the vast majority of users of the walkway, which we understand is very low, are the residents of Barossa Village, as I do not consider the current condition of the walkway to be suitable for anyone who is not steady on their feet, and hence I would not expect many Barossa Village residents to be keen to use it in its current state, let alone the fact that they don't even know it's a walkway. I am positive that the majority of people currently using the walkway may not be from the Barossa Village residents, but other house owners in the area. Workers at Barossa Village regularly walk through there, and that the possibility of numbers of users would increase many-fold if the current walkway was maintained appropriately. I personally do not feel comfortable walking through a walkway that has open access to residents' backyards, front yards, and I'm surely would not like that if it was my own house. Surely if a walkway is for community access, it should have appropriate fencing to maintain the privacy of residents and be on properly maintained footpaths, not driveways and roadways. I thus ask that consideration be given to the community and their probable use of the current walkway if it were appropriately maintained, and not to close it completely and have to direct users through a pathway, given our lack of knowledge of where this pathway would actually be, that may not be appropriate for constant public use, thus going in denial of what they claim it should be. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of the local community members and for your attention and consideration of our request.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions they'd like to direct to Councillor Priest?
Yeah, thank you very much for that presentation. It was very well received. Could I just ask how you knew about the closure of the footpath?
Someone actually mentioned it to us because we don't get the paper every week, so we had no knowledge of anything that's been progressing over there, be it Barossa Village extending homes or building new homes or whatever. We have had no notification whatsoever that there's anything is proposed to be happening there.
And you are aware that it's got to go out to community consultation soon, is that correct?
I understand that that is part of the process. I don't know what stage that would normally be done. I don't know. In that case, I can't see how anything can progress until it's gone to community anyway to get their opinions, because what's been said in those notes that I quoted from the last meeting, I do not think that's appropriate for the views of the public and not just Barossa Village.
It might be helpful at this point if the Deputy CEO could provide a very brief overview of what that process will look like now that the recommendation has been moved as a motion.
I'll speak to it briefly and then I can defer to my colleague, Mr Clark. Essentially, a public consultation process is required under the statutory requirements associated with a closure of this nature, and it will go out for a public consultation period, including public notice, etc. And then those views will be taken into account in presenting the matter back to the council for the ultimate decision. Mr Clark can probably explain a little bit better the actual engineering requirements and the assessments that are undertaken to inform that process as well.
Through you, Mrs Mayor. Basically, the process required by legislation requires us to, the request to come through for council to say whether we'd like to investigate with the process, and then from there a survey is undertaken, and the survey will then generate what they call a road closing survey, which is then provided for public consultation. On the back of that, subject to consultation received, is then presented back to council for a decision determining whether they want to proceed with it or if they cease it at that point. Post that, if it's approved to proceed, it then goes to the minister, who will need to endorse that if they agree with the road closure. From there, it then goes back and goes through the legal process for amalgamating the titles and those things. So a survey is conducted first, determining what the closure looks like, where the land moves, and then that's presented for public consultation, and then that is then provided back to council.
Yeah. May I ask two questions?
Please.
When you say public consultation, how do we get advised that there is anything?
So that will go through our consultation policy, which will include, in this case, it would be legislated that will go in the paper. So it'll go in the leader. Noticing, but also it'll go via our social media channels, and depending on working with our communication team, whether there's other means that would be provided to immediate residents of the area, whether it be a letterbox drop and the like, but that would be determined once we get the information back.
The other question I have is, may I ask where this other proposed alternative walkway is planned to be?
Through you, Mrs Mayor, it hasn't been provided as yet. I haven't seen a plan showing where the proposed ones be, but that would be, should it continue down this path, I would be requesting that as a part of the consultation to be, the proposal would go out with the consultation where the new access point would be added.
I think that I'm only assuming that they may be going to call it maybe an alternative walkway, so I can't say it is, but I do question the fact that it was actually a walkway for use by community, for the wider community, if it is where I think it is. But if they do it, so it's not imposing on any of the residents.
If I may, just prior to handing to Councillor Hone, it may be some it might be helpful for you to understand that very briefly, the procedural matter that we dealt with just before you came up was actually to move that recommendation that there be that public consultation. Council does have a formal consultation policy, which is available for you to view as well, and that will guide the way that that consultation takes place so that there's consistency across all of the various ways that council does consult on things like this, and there will be an opportunity for you then to feed into that, which will include consideration around alternatives that have been proposed as well. Councillor Hearn.
Thank you, Mrs Deputy Mayor. Ma'am, I used to live 2 houses down from that roadway years ago for quite a number of years, and over time there's been gardens and sheds and things like that built on there, and that's why nobody really knows. In fact, I think Mr Linky approached me years ago at that stage, and that fell on deaf ears with the owners or the people. Mm-hmm.
And did you have a question for our...
I was just making a statement.
Splendid. Thank you, Councillor Hearn. Thank you very much.
I do have a photo here of what the walkway looks like now and how it has just about always looked like, except when the flowers die off. And
I'm sure that we're able to take a copy of that for the executive and include that. And it was, again, you'll have an opportunity to offer that as part of a consultation process as well. Thank you so much, Don. I appreciate your time. Thank you. Yes, if you just unclip that one and then Mr Linky can come in and play tag. Splendid. Thank you so very much.
Right, thank you. Thanks for asking us or allowing us to speak today. My probably concern is a lot of the same as Donna's, but my association with the walkway goes back to 1968 when we actually bought our land in Shoals Avenue. Now that was bought off of a representative of the then Senior Citizens Association, which was Clary Mowald was handling this, advising some of those sales, and he actually did advise us, which block we could have or buy, and that's what we did. And I understand the council's, like, that was in 68, but it took to 1988 before it was made a declared public walkway, right? The council, or whoever it was, did their part in it had to be a defined walkway. So it was defined by a row of prunus trees down the one side that was 10 foot or 3 metres off basically Donna's fence. We moved back into the area in 2012 knowing that the walkway was going to be there because we were told back in 68 it was a proposed walkway for it then. Coming back in 2012 it was all blocked off, overgrown, and there was no access at all to go through to Shoals Avenue because we're on Penrice Road. One of the residents had built over it, and I spoke to then the Barossa village, a couple of the CEOs, that one didn't do anything, the next one that come in had the shed removed, his workshop removed, but there's still remnants there of the concrete floor that the shed was built on. Right. My concern is once, or if the Barossa village get control of the walkway and the title goes into their hands, even the council won't be able to stop them from building on the boundary of any neighbour around that area that's on their land. Council have no say where they can do it. I think this will let the community down in this area what the walkway was meant for. I understand from back in the day, Clary Mowald said it was a buffer zone between a business and private residences. And I think to relocate the existing 3-metre walkway to amongst the Barossa village homes, they'll have 2 boundaries to worry about if everyone's going to walk through. And it needs to be, would have to be fenced and to make it secure and safe for the people walking through and the privacy for the residents. The current walkway, which is on the most western end of the Barossa Village's property, is only 3 metres of the end of their property. So it's, you know, I don't think it really stops them from building their development on the land they've got, because it's only, they just can't come another 3 metres onto the neighbour's boundary. So I believe in the best interest for the community, the walkway should be used that it was intended for, the people, and a buffer zone between the business enterprise, the Barossa village, and the private properties. I strongly believe that it should stay in the public hands and not be taken over by the village, but maintained by the council. And that's about my part.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Linky that they'd like to ask? Fantastic. Thank you so much, both of you, for taking the time to come and speak to us this evening. I think the depth of your feeling about it has been really accurately conveyed to the Chamber, and that's really important. And I think that having that public consultation, having now been formally moved and going ahead, that there will hopefully be the opportunity for as many of your friends and neighbours and interested parties to have the opportunity to feed into that process and to be heard as well. Thank you so much. Thank you. Splendid. Oh, better get rid of Google Maps. So moving ahead then, we have the Mayor's report on item 4.1 on page 13. There is a recommendation there, but firstly, do we have any questions arising from the Mayor's report? No? Splendid. Thank you so much. Moved Councillor De Vries, seconded Councillor Angus. All in favour? Thank you. I note that we do not have any councillors' reports that have been submitted this evening, which means that we will move on to the matters for information. Items 6, starting at page number 17. There's a range of items, range of matters that have been presented there with their reports. Are there any questions arising for any of the matters for information? A range of experts with us this evening? No? That's you. Splendid. Thank you very much. In that case, we're going to move on to the debate reports, starting at 7.1.1 on page 76. Now, there is a recommendation that has been presented in the agenda, but I did want to also note that it was as a result of the matter being raised with Mayor Lange externally to the Chamber, there is an amended recommendation which is available for the Chamber's consideration. I will take action from the floor as to how you might wish to proceed with that. Whether there were any questions or whether I might have a mover for the alternative recommendation which has been presented, or the alternative motion. I have a mover from Councillor Evans, seconded from Councillor Angus. Would either of you wish to speak to that? And if you did, I would ask that you just pop your microphone on.
I'm happy to move the motion, the recommendation with the amendments, and think that it would be appropriate that ratepayers are aware of costs incurred and to resolve the matter as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Evans. Councillor Angus, do you wish to speak?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just to reinforce the comments of Councillor Evans, that I believe the community needs to know how this chamber feels about this matter and what we would like to do about it. And I urge you all to support the motion.
Is there any other councillors who wish to be heard on this matter? And if not, Councillor Evans, did you wish to close the debate? Oh, yes. Thank you, Councillor De Vries.
Yeah, I just want to state that I've been on this council for half of my adult life and I care deeply about it, and I think this is very, very sad that we find ourselves in this situation. And I probably don't have a great deal to add to what's there, except that I just feel I don't want to let this go with saying nothing, because this is a major deal. I've seen this council go through some tough times in the past, but despite that, even when there was argy-bargy between various members, and Councillor Hearn will remember some of the very, very early days, 20-odd plus years ago, but we always seemed to manage to get on, and we were always worked as a team, and there was always this sense of that we were all working towards one common good. This saddens me greatly, and I've wrestled with this, as I know most of all of the councillors have. But I don't know what else we can do. I really do believe that we are at this position. We have requested apologies. We have requested basically that each of us behaves in a manner that reflects well on the community. And that is something that is just not happening at the moment, and I don't know what else to do. And I just find it very sad that we have a situation where not only are the community, in my view, not being properly served, but at expense. And I think that is to be poorly served, and also to then have to pay for the privilege of being poorly served, I think is very, very unfortunate. So I don't want to go on any further, but I think that is my view, and I hope that as a result of this, that maybe we can turn a corner and see some improvements. I remain to see what happens.
Thank you, Councillor De Vries. Councillor Troop.
Just like to reiterate what Councillor De Vries just said. We've worked pretty hard here to have a chamber which is respectful, collaborative, and I do think our collaborative spirit is reflected within the whole of the council, including staff, and I think there is a great, a positive environment within this council, and I believe we have to protect it. And obviously this is not just the council, it's out in the public as well. So our number one priority is our residents, and the respect and the honour that we need to treat each other in this chamber and out of the chamber it should never be of question. And so I guess we really want to reiterate to the public that we are a collaborative, we are a positive chamber, and that we want to foster that so that it's reflected out in our community. And I do believe, as Councillor De Vries and our other councillors have said, that we need to protect that in order to protect the Barossa. So I'm fully supportive of this motion, sadly.
Thank you so much, Councillor Troop. Councillor Evans, do you wish to close the debate with any further comments?
Thank you, through the chair. Sorry, apologies. Only to say that I think enough's been said. Really, I concur with my colleagues and look forward to speedy resolution of this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Having said that, we do have a motion before us which has been moved and seconded. So if I could ask all those in favour to raise their hands. Thank you. That is carried. Moving on to item 7.1.2, request for training and development in relation to Mayor Lunny on page 85. Again, we do have a recommendation that is available. Do I have any questions in relation to this matter? Thank you very much. Moved by Councillor Barrett. Would anyone be comfortable to seconded by Councillor Angus? Thank you so very much. All those in favour? Oh, sorry, question for yourself, Councillor Hearn? Yes, please do.
Yeah, just looking at that's a one-off cost to get there, but there must be some ancillary costs that would be on top of that. Are we aware of what they would be? I reckon it would run into a few thousand, not just the 979.
Thank you, Councillor Hearn. I'm going to defer to my Deputy CEO in this respect. Thank you.
Thank you, through you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Hearn. I understand from advice from our CEO that the additional costs associated with the Mayor's travel are absorbed or covered primarily through our existing policy settings, and that he's intending on driving himself, and so therefore will claim the kilometres as part of his normal allowances, and that the cost will be advised in his follow-up report to Council after attending the conference.
Okay.
Thank you, Councillor Hearn. Were there any other questions or anyone who might wish to speak to the matter? No? Having noted the mover and the seconder there, may I ask for a show of hands of all those in favour? Thank you. The motion is carried. Moving forward to item 7.1.3, proposed amendment to the previous council decision relating to the Gawler River Floodplain Management Authority. On page 90, there is a detailed recommendation which is available. Firstly, were there any questions relating to this matter? To be moved by Councillor Angus. Thank you, Councillor Angus. Do I have a seconder? Thank you very much for that ringing endorsement. Seconded by Councillor Troop. Thank you so very much. Would anyone like to speak to the matter? In which case, yes, thank you.
If I may, yes.
Please.
I think given the circumstances the Adelaide Hills Council finds themselves in and unable to get out of it, I think this is a very, very good compromise, a very good common sense approach at let's go back to first principles and be responsible for what we're responsible for, not the whole kit and caboodle.
Thank you, Councillor Angus. Councillor De Vries.
I'm not going to let this one go without saying something. The state government wants this water when it's good water. When it's bad water, it's our water. And they want us to pay for the bad water. And if this isn't cost shifting, I don't know what is. So either they own the water or they don't.
Thank you, Councillor De Vries. The motion has been moved and seconded. In the absence of any further debate, could I have a show of hands, please? All those in favour? The motion is carried. Thank you. We now move to item 7.1.4, Regional Northern Growth Area Local Government Collaboration Model Proposal on page 94. Again, there is a recommendation that has been provided. Were there any questions arising from the report? Do I have someone who would like to move the motion? Councillor De Vries, seconded Councillor Angus.
Yes.
Yes, I sort of did a sweep there. Would either of you like to speak to the motion? No?
Look, I'd just like to say again, this is another good common sense piece of a common sense recommendation to try and all be on the same page. Should be more of it.
Thank you. Councillor Barrett?
Sorry, I was just going to add to that. My notes are a pragmatic recommendation, and that's all I had next to it, and I totally agree with Councillor Angus.
Such a good word, pragmatic. Yes. Councillor Evans.
Through the Deputy Mayor, I just I reiterate the words of our colleagues and think that anything that strengthens the Barossa region with joint planning and investment and advocacy is a really wonderful thing. Thank you.
I beg your pardon, it was moved, the motion was initially moved by Councillor De Vries. Would you like to close the debate, sir? No, I think everybody is in agreement. Splendid. All those in favour? The motion is carried. Thank you so much. Moving to Corporate Services Strategy and Innovation, 7.2.1, Annual Report on the Internal Review of Council Decisions, page 101. I liked this one, tickled my fancy. This was great. There is a recommendation that's available to the Chamber. Thank you, Councillor Hearn. Happy to move that. Thank you. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Thank you, Councillor De Vries. Would any questions, or Councillor Barrett, would you like to speak to
The
that?
only comment I'd like to make, we don't get to a situation like this with no people asking for reviews without the excellent work of our CEO and his staff. So I'd like to thank them for us being in this position. Thank
Hear, hear. I agree. Thank you so much. In the absence of any further debate, all those in favour? Thank you. Carried. I know. Lonely or sort of palatial might be.
I will take the latter.
Stretch out. Splendid. So that brings us to 7.2.2, the monthly finance report, as at 31 August on page 104. Were there any questions? No? Thank you, Councillor De Vries. Moved. Seconded, Councillor Hearn. Would either of you like to speak? No? Thank you. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Excuse me. So we move to skipping straight over infrastructure and environmental services to development and community services 7.4.1 on page 107. Request to enter into an infrastructure agreement as noted. I'm not going to read out the title of the entire thing. We do have a recommendation. There were any questions initially? I'm happy to vote. Thank you. Moved, Councillor Barrett. Thank you. You are an angel. Seconded, Councillor Hearn. Thank you very much. Would either of you like to speak to the report?
The only thing I want to say is it's necessary, so we'll move on with
it. Thanks, Councillor Barrett. Any other comments? No? All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. 7.4.2 Waste Management Services Policy Review on page 116. Again, there is a recommendation available to the Chamber. Any questions? No? Thank you. Would someone like to move? Thank you, Councillor De Vries. Moved, Councillor De Vries. Second, was that not, maybe? Seconded, Councillor Angus. I'm going to take that. Would either of you like to speak to the recommendation? No? Thank you so much. All those in favour? Carried, thank you. And finally, for our friends and colleagues in Stockwell, 7.4.3 on page 146, the community battery proposal. I was very interested to see this. Again, a recommendation. Are there any questions arising for Stockwell? Happy to move the recommendation. Thank you, Councillor De Vries. Seconded, Councillor Hearn. Would either of you like to speak to it?
Only to say that the agenda only has 155 pages this month. Very short.
The agenda gods are smiling on us this evening. Thank you, Councillor De Vries. Councillor Hearn, would you like to?
No, I don't think there's anything. We've discussed this issue previously, and it's in a satisfactory position. So why not?
Why not, indeed. Thank you. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. And now, my friends, we move to the confidential portion of this evening's meeting. May I have a mover that we go into confidence? Thank you, Councillor De Vries, and seconded, Councillor Troop, and we'll just take a moment to make sure that we have adhered to all of the requirements. Thank you so much. I wasn't sure if they may wish to have remained. Thank you. We are rolling. Thank you. So I haven't been advised of any urgent other business that has arisen. So in the absence, oh yes, I beg your pardon, Councillor Hearn.
Now that we've passed this motion and we've had 2 delegations, I forget. I can't rattle off the full title. Can I just say Ben? Yeah, so.
It's actually an acronym.
I could. Where do we really go from here then? Is it going to public consultation? And
Sorry, if we may, we might formally close the meeting first and then allow for some discussion around that. Or is that okay? Splendid. Thank you. So if you'll bear with me for just one moment, Councillor Hearn, there's just like 2 last little ticks I need to put on my page, which is just to confirm that the next meeting of the Barossa Council will be held on the 21st of October 2025 at 5:30 p.m. And then to simply thank you all for your time and patience this evening and for the very smooth running of our meeting. Thank you.
could I just add that the mayor might be shaking in his boots if he gets the...
Oh, and I formally declare this meeting closed. Is that where I get to bang the... Thank you so much, everyone.